And I know when I say the word productive, it sounds like I'm trying to be Tony Robbins or something, which I'm not. Productivity, to me, it just means being creative. A lot of times I'll ask myself, are you being more creative? Are you creating more? Or are you consuming more? It's a very simple spectrum. A lot of times we have a compass, it's an internal compass. We know which direction we should be going. For the most part, we know what general activities we should be doing. And sometimes I'll just, if I don't know what to do, I'll just journal it out, journal it out. I've been writing songs with Suno. I spent probably 6 months where every day I wrote a song, and I would read a book at night, Huckleberry Finn or Tom Sawyer or some classic. I did The Secret Garden with my daughter, and I would find if I read at night a classical book like that, even if it was just a chapter, I'd go to sleep, I'd wake up, my writing would be better. And so sometimes when I feel that I'm consuming too much, to get my creative spark moving, I might go in there and write a silly little song. And sometimes that helps me spark up and get the creative spark lit back up. Looking back at these different seasons of my life, the seasons where I was tired at the end of the day were the good old days, right? Like there was a lot going on in those times. And I look back and say, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. But it's proof to myself that I can do hard things. And I will look back on this period of my life and say, what was I thinking? What was I going through? How was I feeling in that moment? And most of the time, I'm having a great time still. When I'm journaling, I do try to document that when I'm journaling too. Like, hey, today was a good day. I felt really productive. I did this, I did that. And really making sure that I'm grading myself empathetically and showing myself some love there and not just talking about the negative days, because I certainly did that before. And let me get back around to comfort is not the enemy. The first step in that, obviously, is tell yourself you can do it. And if you were to do it, how would that be possible? Or what could that look like? Or what actions could be taken that have it create a thesis, a theory as to what actions would be required to accomplish that, and then do it and do a little test group, take a little test, have a sample of 2 weeks or 2 months or 90 days. I like 90 days. I like setting up things and say, okay, if I do this in 90 days, maybe I'll get to this. And then in 90 days, I see if I did it. And then I go, well, I obviously have to do more of that. So let's do more of that. And I guess instead of doing an hour a day, now I got to do 2 hours or, whatever it is. Yeah, you have to measure it and all that. And same goes with recovery. So I try to make this structured. I try to say by this time every night, I'm doing mindless shit like scrolling on my phone or reading a book or playing with the kids, or it's nice having kids because you can do like therapeutic coloring. There's so many cool AI apps now. There's like astrology apps that read your chart, you can ask it questions, and it basically counsels you through the day. It helps you set goals and intentions for the day. And then there's literal just ChatGPT can be like kind of like a counselor. You can tell it to be a life coach and ask you questions and create prompts, journal writing prompts for you. But I try to be structured and set up boundaries for myself, put up boundaries for myself and say, okay, after this time, it's all like mental, like no more solving problems. Just you can consume, you can journal, you can read, you can color in a coloring book. And I did have one of these AI agents tell me, oh, you can even do therapeutic, get an adult coloring book and do some therapeutic coloring. And go, oh, I don't even have to go anywhere. I got this stacks and stacks of coloring books and just color with the kids. So that's fabulous. Having kids is great. Doing a board game, like adults, what am I going to go to my husband and be like, hey, can we play a board game? Like, he's not that kind of guy. He'll be like, no, hold this. Be working on a car and be like, pick this up and hold it and twist it. I'm like, this isn't what I had in mind for relaxing at 8 o'clock at night. Setting up boundaries, structured boundaries around my recovery and sleep times. And I have to put my foot down sometimes. If I find myself getting burnt out, I try to focus on why am I here? Okay, I didn't never really take a whole day, but take some extra time, lay in my bed, journal, read a book, do what I got to do, listen to some personal development, get organized, get my goals rewritten, get everything reassessed, and think, okay, why am I in this place? Why am I in this pit of despair? And work on my mental game, sleep some extra hours, get up and try again. And I'll build in purposeful recovery for those reasons. Because if I don't take my Sundays and do certain things on Sundays, turn my brain off, go to the zoo, get outside, do grounding. I find just getting outside, going on a walk, going to the park, like I said, going to the zoo with the kids, something that takes low, not a lot of mental energy, maybe something that I've done before. Like if I went to a brand new zoo, that would take more mind share, more mental energy for me than it would if I go to the zoo that I have a pass. That way I can just go for an hour. If I just want to go for an hour, it's not a big deal. Because if you pay $200 for you and your kids to go to the zoo one time, I feel like I have to see everything in the zoo. But if I buy the pass for the entire year for $400, now I can go every week if I want to for an hour. It's usually more like once a month for 2 hours, but I don't feel like I have to see the whole damn thing in one day. It's not as much work. So try being very mindful and purposeful with how I spend my time and why I'm doing it definitely helps. Also, even my clothes, I'm very purposeful with how I order my clothes. Every year I go through and I look at, okay, what kind of clothes do I like? What are the brands I'm looking at? And then I look for sales in December and January. And then I order everything for the entire year. I usually set a goal to be like 7 to 10 outfits, gym clothes, 7 to 10 outfits, other clothes. And that's it. And shoes, usually buy 1 to 3 pairs of shoes, and then I buy more throughout the year, but only if that's like my base for the year. And then I only buy stuff if I happen to see it at a store and I really like it. And that's it. It doesn't have to be, I'm not shopping for price. I'm not going to multiple stores. If I see it, I like it, I buy it. Period, end of story. But my point is, I don't want to spend a bunch of time. Oh my gosh, I need this shirt for this thing, or oh this clothes is worn out. I got this hole in this thing. I got to get a new set of leggings for the gym, or this thing's not fitting me right. Like I try to order clothes that I know fit me well, serve the purpose. I like them. I put the time in researching and getting the ideal ones that I really like at the best price that I can. It's always December, January. And then I try not to think about it for the rest of the year. I just try to be very intentional with all these things that I know I have to do. And same with food. I know what meals I make, and those things get made. And if I know I'm not going to have time to make meals that week, I have a food ordering company. I tried several. I tried about 3. I usually don't go beyond the 2.5 hour mark. I did when I was younger, and it was pre-children. And I know some people have some theories about this, and scientifically backed, biologically backed information about how long an old lady can work. All right. And I'm an old lady now, according to these, young people out there crushing it on podcasts and things. And at this point in my life, I'm in a season where I have 2 beautiful children that I love very much. And I want to pour as much of my heart and soul and teaching abilities into them right now to raise amazing humans for the next generation. I think that's the number one job of every parent. Raise your children to be productive, contributing members to society, polite, and understanding morality and morals and what's right and wrong. And some common sense would be nice too. And a skill or two would be great. So that's my number one mission right now is being a mother. Rambling. I was born a rambling woman, trying to make a living and doing the best I can. When it's time for leaving, I hope you'll understand that I was born a rambling woman. Lord, all right. And actually, what I was going to say before I got distracted is that if you can stick with it, if I can stick with it for 15 minutes, that's usually the threshold for most people to get into more of a deep focus. And some days, whether it's I've had too much coffee, had too much nicotine, not enough sleep, my ADD is firing, got something crazy going on in my life. I heard some disturbing news, whatever. Yeah, Flo came to town, whatever it might be. We I may not be able to get into this flow state after the 15 minutes. And sometimes I just call it. I'm just like, you know what? It's not happening today. I'm going to do some mindless, just admin, get some wins. And as I was telling one of my coworkers the other day, it was that some days I just need to get on there and get some wins. I just like mine my emails to like be someone's hero. I'm like, can I please just be somebody's hero? I just need that win. I just need to be somebody's hero. And then once I get that, I'll just go through my emails until I get that win and be like, all right, I can take a break now. So the struggle is real, and I can get heavily distracted, and I go through seasons where I'm more heavily distracted. My brain just does not want to latch on to any deep work. As long as I stick to it every day and focus on at least getting those 15 minutes in, and then progress to 30, progress to 45, progress to an hour, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. If I can stay at that 2.5 hours on a daily basis for that most productive work, get in that flow state, it's a win. That day is a win. And not saying like that's all the work I do. I don't want to give that impression either, or that you can just, I mean, some people can get away with just doing the 2.5 hours. I certainly am not. I do have different blocks, 2 or 3 blocks of sit down for 2 straight hours and do the thing, do the damn thing. And then there's lots of frantic, more unorganized work in between there, like just doing shit as it comes up, right? A lot of life is that gopher game, whack a mole. Yeah, whack a mole, the mole game where they pop up and you're just like whack, whack, whack. I have days like that where it's just everything's a whack a mole and I didn't get my focus work in, or maybe I got my 2.5 hours of focus work in, and the rest of the day is just whack a mole. And that's fine too. And those are great days as well. But for me, whack a mole doesn't move me in a super meaningful way towards my long term goals. I have to do that focus work. So that focus work for me is first thing in the morning after a cup of coffee. The faster you can get to sit down and get to work and get into your focus work as soon as you wake up, the better. And I also have found that to be the best strategy for me. And working at home has been a godsend for that. I believe that I've been able to make more progress because I work from home and I don't have the commute. I don't have the hour to work and the hour from work. Although, if you're in a situation where you do have to drive to work, there are a lot of advantages and there's a lot of opportunities you can take by being in the car. And there's a lot of learning opportunities. It all depends on what you decide to put in your ears while you're driving.